What's up guys, welcome to the channel, and in today's video we are going to look into if and else conditionals. We are going to look into the if else ladder, and also what are conditional operators, and the difference between an equal to and a double equal to. So let's get started. I've opened my PyCharm IDE here, and I'm going to make a new file, and I'll write I'll name it as tut11, as this is the 11th video of our Python playlist. After this, I'm going to make a variable and name it as var1. And for example, if I give it a value, for example 34, then I will make another variable var2. I'll make it 78, and I'll make another variable known as var3, and I'll make it as 10. Okay, so what are these if else conditionals? Let me give you an analogy. If you don't get a cauliflower, choose a tomato. If you don't get the tomato, choose a brinjal. If you don't get the brinjal, choose another vegetable. Just like that, these real life scenarios, in Python we can choose what we want. For example, if I write if var1 is greater than var2, then this will be printing print var1 is greater than var2. And similarly, if we write else print var1 is not greater than var2. As you can see, this is an if and else statement. In the if statement, it is checking the condition, that is the var1 thing greater than var2, is 34 greater than 78. It is false. As you can see that 78 is not smaller than 34. So this thing right here, it gives out a Boolean type. Now what is a Boolean type? I'll write this down here. var1 is greater than var2 is a Boolean type, and a Boolean type is always true or false. So for example, if var2 is less than var1, that is false, then if false, it won't print this statement, but it will print this statement as it goes into the else statement. Just like that, as I gave you an analogy moment ago, that if you don't get cauliflower, you have to take tomato. Just like this, so if you don't get the var1 is greater than var2, you have to move to the else statement. So if I print var1 is greater than var2, as you can see, it will print out false. So I'll run this program, and as you can see, it has not printed the var1 is greater than var2. So I'll just duplicate this and I'll bring it down. After that, I'll run it again. As you can see, it is false. So if I write var1 is smaller than var2, yes, that is true. So it will be true right here. As you can see, it has printed true. So if the condition in the if statement is false, it will move to the else statement. And just like that, if we have another condition, for example, elif var1 is less than var2, and then I want to print that var2 is greater than var1. And if I print this, as you can see, it prints out that var2 is greater than var1, because that is the case here. But if I make var1 and var2 equal, for example, if I write var1 as 78 and var2 as 78 as well, this case will be neglected because these two are equal. This case will be also skipped, and then it will move on to the else statement. That is, it will print that var1 is not greater than var2. I'll just quickly type is equal to var2. So as you can see, it has printed var1 is equal to var2. Okay, so moving on to the basic syntax. As you can see, I have wrote elif. Now what is elif? If, elif, else. What is this? This is basically an if and elif ladder. In programming terms, this is an if and elif ladder. Elif means else if. Else if. In C and C++, you write this as else if. So if we write elif, if the condition in the if statement fails, the program then moves on to the elif statement and it checks that is this condition true, and if this fails, it moves on to the else statement. So I can write as many as elifs I want. For example, is var2 is equal to var1, and after this, guys, when you write your condition, make sure that you write it in a bracket because it is a really good practice to do so. And after you write your condition, you have to make sure that you are writing this colon, because after you write this colon is what the program will execute. For example, if var2 is equal to var1, that is, it is equal, so it will print that they both are equal. As you can see, it is printing they both are equal. But again, if I write if var2 is equal to var1, and if I write an else statement here, nothing. So what this will do is that it will go through if, it will neglect this, it will go through elif, this one elif, it will neglect this, it will go through this, it will print out that they are both equal, then it will skip this because in this ladder it has printed one thing, right? It has gone through the third condition and it has printed that they both are equal. So it will skip everything that is before else, and it will also skip the else. After that, it will go again and it will see that there is an if here. So it will print that var1 is equal to var2 as well. So if I run this program, as you can see, it has printed that they are both equal, and it goes here and it sees that there is an if statement here as well. So it will print that var1 is equal to var2. Okay, so what are these equal to signs here? If I go to my print 3D, as you know that we can assign an variable a number by writing, for example, var1 is equal to 34, var2 is equal to 78, and we can assign numbers in these variables, right? But what is an equal to? It is a conditional operator which gives out a Boolean type. As you can see, if var1, I write var1 is equal to 34, this gives out that yes, it is true. But if I write var1 is equal to 78, then this is false because var1 is 34. So that is how equal to works. It just shows the condition that is it true, that is it true. Alright, is it true? And assign, what assign does is that it stores the value in it. For example, if I wrote x is equal to 2, the 2 will be stored in x. But if I write x is equal to 2, it will check that is 2 equal to x, and is x is equal to 2, then yes, I am giving it as true. So that's how the conditional operator works. And if I come back to my PyCharm IDE, as you can see, we have made an if-elif ladder, and then I've put an if statement here again. Okay, so after this, I'll comment this out. And then I will make another variable, for example, a is equal to 17, b is equal to int, and then I'm going to take an input from the user and I'm going to write enter your age. I'm going to make a as 18. After this, I'm going to write if b is greater than a, or if b is greater than equal to a. If you enter 18, then this condition is true as well because b is equal to a. But if you enter 19, then this condition is true as well because 19 is greater than 18. So I wrote if b is greater than or equal to a, you have to print you can vote. But if I write elif that b is less than a, then you have to print you cannot vote. Else I will write print enter correct input please. If I run this program, as you can see, it is asking me to enter my age. So I will enter my age as, for example, 17, and it shows me that you cannot vote because 17 is less than 18. But if I enter 23, it shows me that you can vote. And if I enter my name, as you can see, it gives me an error because this is typecasted in int and we cannot typecast a string into an int. So that's how this works. And after this I will comment this out, and I will make a list, and I will name it as list1. Then I will make a list, for example 1 2 3 8 7 7 54, and I've made a small list here. After this I'll write if list, if 38 in list1, then print 38 in list1. So after you have wrote that if 38 in list1, this thing right here 38 in list1, it gives you a boolean, a true or false value. So that's why I've printed here that if this is in the list, it will print out true, and then yes, it exists in list1, else print 38 in list1. That is, if it does not exist, print out false, and then print no, it does not exist in list1. If I run this program, as you can see, it prints true because 38 exists in list1. This in operator right here, it checks that is the value that we have printed here, is it inside this list or not? And if it is, I will give out true, or else if it isn't, I will give out false. So as you can see, 38 is in the list, and if I type in that if 3 is in list, print 3 in list, print 3 in list. As you can see, it is not in list. 3 is nowhere in this list, so it will print out that it is false and it does not exist in list1. So that's how the if and elif statement works. Again, I will show you what is the if and elif ladder. I will write a is equal to 34, b is equal to 23, and then I will write if a is equal to 0, that is, if a's value is 0, you can print a is 0. Elif a is equal to 3, you can print a is 3. Else print a's value, that is, a is the value of a. Alright. So after this, if I want to check about b, now this is an if and elif ladder. As you can see, a is equal to 0. It isn't equal to 0, so it will skip this. It will look into the elif statement, that is a is equal to 3. No, it isn't. So it will go into the else statement, and then it will print that a is equal to the value, that is 34. So after this if else ladder, if I put another if, that is b is equal to 0, print b is 0. Oops, I have to put it this way. Elif, if b is equal to 3, print b is 3. Else print b is b, that is the value of b. So that's how we can print this. If I run this, as you can see, the program will go from this ladder, and as it sees another if, this is really important, as it sees another if, it will check this condition as well. It won't stop here, it will check this condition as well, that if b is equal to 0, I'll print this. So that means that whenever the program faces another if, it starts again. It does not terminate after the else statement. So it will check that if b is equal to 0, that is not false, that is false, and after that it will print this. So if I run this, oops, it is giving me an error that you cannot concatenate str to not int. So I will typecast this a as an str because the print function is at the moment printing only the str type, data type. So as you can see, it prints out that a is 34 and b is 23. Now guys, I wanted to give you a simple program for homework that I'll name this homework as the driving test. In this homework, you have to take age as an input, and age is always in an integer form, so you will have to typecast it into int, and then you have a threshold, or else I'll write a barrier, that is 18. So for example, you have to print that you can drive. If you print a number higher than 18, then you have to put a conditional using an if-else statement that you can drive. But if your age is lesser than 18, you have to print that you cannot drive. And also that if a person enters 1000 or more than 100 as an age, you have to write that you have to enter the input again, because this is not valid. So that's for homework, and I hope that you have accessed the playlist, as I'm going to add more and more videos on it. So this was all for today's video. Hope you understood about the if and elif conditionals. I want each of you to write your answer in the comment section below, as I'll be checking all of your answers and giving you a shout out as well. So please make sure that you do that. This was all for today's video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.